Welcome, everybody, to the first edition of Web3 Weekly 2025. Happy New Year, everyone. Today we have a very special guest. You may know her on X as Pokadot, but we're here today to talk to Patricia Arro regarding the first national Polkadot Bootcamp Hackathon that's happening nationwide with OpenGuild and Web3 Bulacan. Without further ado, let's bring on tonight's guest, Patricia.
Hello, good evening. Good morning, GM.
Good morning for some, right? Where are
Yes,
you right now, Patricia?
I'm based in Manila, in Philippines.
Nice. I'm here in Thailand. So yeah, good evening as well, right? Um,
Yes,
so Patricia, this is the first time we've connected. This is the first time we've met, right? And we were talking before the show that you've been involved in this space for a while. So maybe for all the listeners out there, you can paint a little picture about how you got into the space, what got you into the space, and then please do tell us a little bit about yourself. Yeah.
yeah. I started in 2017 actually. I started when I was looking for an online job because I had to take care of my father and I had to stay home, so I cannot go
Mm,
out of office or something like that. And then I came across to this individual in Upwork at that time.
mm,
He was looking for a community moderator, a community lead for their projects because they're like
mm.
a crypto marketing agency.
Nice.
So with that crypto marketing agency, it gave me a lot of experience in terms of moderating communities,
Mm,
and also eventually, learn the different kind of community members actually, and what kind of community members are looking for. Let's say some are more into educational, some are more into just fun. So
mm.
very diverse. So yeah, that's how I started, and then eventually, some exchanges hired me, and
Nice.
then yeah, and then I went to Polkadot, very very technical community.
Yeah. What a community to join. So we're here today to talk a little bit about the hackathon, the
Mhm,
Polkadot Bootcamp and Hackathon.
mhm.
And my understanding is that this is a nationwide initiative, and this is also the first time that this is happening. Is that correct?
It's correct. Yeah.
Nice. So, tell us a little bit. It's an amazing initiative, right? So, tell us a little bit about when it starts, and then maybe just some logistical stuff for those out there, because I've been a part of hackathons myself. Um, I know recently, just during DevCon, there was a 6-day hackathon, and it was, in my opinion, like a very huge feat and accomplishment. But I've never heard of a nationwide hackathon happening before. So this sounds amazing. So how do you pull something like that off? But maybe also tell us a little bit about how it came together,
Yeah.
and maybe we can then touch on where throughout the Philippines this
Mm.
initiative will be held.
Yeah, it all started because I met Web3 Bulacan team. So, for start, you have to work with the right kind of people who are
Yeah.
in the same level of grit, or how do you say that, of motivation, or how encouraged you are to do things. And I think I saw that with Web3 Bulacan team, and
Mm,
I saw like how much they are very involved with the developers community. And so I think in my mind, I think they are the right partner to do this. And
yeah.
yeah, so it's gonna happen actually this Saturday, and the boot camp will happen every Saturday starting this Saturday, and
Okay.
then we will have a hackathon by March. So it's gonna be like a 6 weeks boot camp, and then 4 weeks hackathon, I believe. So yeah, Web3 Bulacan has been very very helpful because they are very experienced in doing this. I mean, I cannot do it alone.
Mm,
But with their expertise, with their assistance, with their network and support, everything's like coming together.
mm.
And yeah, we're just very excited. I mean, we're doing a lot of calls. It was really hard to do these calls after holidays. Everyone
Sure,
was like still catching up, still, hungover with all the holiday stuff. But,
sure, yeah.
we already have to start. We need to start.
Yeah, and where will you start, or will this kind of happen simultaneously throughout different regions of the Philippines?
Yeah, that's actually a good question because, like, for example, tomorrow we are gonna have like a pre-launch in Cebu. So we're gonna have a workshop in Cebu tomorrow.
Mm,
Our DevRel from OpenGuild will be there to like give an advanced let's say benefit for Cebu builders. But
mm.
officially we will launch on Saturday, but online.
Ah,
So anyone can join. All participants who are registered can just join, and yeah, that's our kickoff.
cool. Wow, very exciting. Wow, it's all happening. Um,
Yes.
let's let's flash forward a little bit because I know that every hackathon has a demo day. Yeah.
Mhm.
When did you plan, or what do you anticipate the demo day happening throughout this hackathon?
Yes, so demo day will be by mid-March.
Okay.
So we will give our participants like few weeks to kind of like come up with some really good ideas or what kind of projects they want to build. And then for demo day, we're gonna choose, I forgot the number, but maybe I think 5 or 10, something like this,
Yeah.
that they can present their, or they can demo. But not everyone can, I believe that everyone can join because we want it to kind of be exclusive for
Mhm.
participants. I mean, of course, anyone can just register or ask for to join, but it's not like publicly open. We have to
Yeah.
really choose who will be there. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, in that case, I know you're calling on universities, dev groups, tech organizations to get involved. How can people support this? How can the average Web3 user, Web3 fan, or even someone that's just curious in hackathons themselves, how can how can everyone in the Philippines get involved? Whether even if it is as a like a audience member, or like a consumer.
I mean, if they just know someone who wants to build, or they know someone who has like a really good idea and they want to implement it, maybe this hackathon is for them.
Mm,
It's really just a matter of what kind of protocol they will use, right? So
mm,
if they have been thinking about it or doing to implement it, I mean, they can just refer this hackathon. I mean, they can always reach out to me directly, reach out to
mm.
Web3 Bulacan. We're very open on X, Telegram. I mean, we really accept all Filipino builders here. So we support them, and we will always open our channels for them.
Nice, nice. And we wanna drop those links later
Yeah.
throughout the show. That would be wonderful for everybody listening. And shout out to everybody who's tuned in already. We got a lot of comments going on. And Web3 Budokan is here. We have Carl on the sides, and here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. It's a fantastic opportunity, and thank you, Muzagan. I see you already. GM, I see you in the comments. Um, but every great initiative, every bit of great innovation starts with a problem, usually, right?
Mhm.
And people rally around to solve that problem. I mean, that's kind of how Web3 came about, right? Solving a lot of centralized problems. What is the main problem that your hackathon is hoping to solve or looking to solve?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about it, and then I realized that I don't think we're kind of like fixing a problem, but we're kind of like
Mm,
offering, a solution, or
mm,
offering um, a solution to something we don't know, right? I mean, I
that's
think
right.
this is
Yeah.
the beauty of Web3. We don't know what we're trying to do here, or what we want, or what we do, but we are offering an infrastructure because Polkadot is a blockchain. So here
Yeah.
we're offering an infrastructure that's I think that's very resilient. And for some people who are in third world country, I don't
Mm,
think we have this standard as high as, like Europeans or Americans.
mm,
So I think being able to be offered by a
mm,
really good blockchain, I think it's
mm.
something that I'm proud to offer Filipino builders. Actually, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
compared to other, I mean, I don't want to say something negative with other
No, it's
protocols.
not. Actually, I want to stop you because, like, it's well. I mean, we both live in Southeast Asia, right? And we're both involved in the Web3 scene in Southeast Asia. What I think sets everything here apart from the rest of the world, whether it's North America, Europe, or Africa, is the pace of innovation, and then the amount of people interested in it, right? And then, and going back to what you said, like, like it's not like there is a one specific problem that you're focusing on, but it's when you get that many builders, when you get that many devs in one space, and you get that, like, that hive mind going, it actually produces so many new solutions, like you mentioned, because they're coming with their own constraints, right? They're coming with their own issues in perhaps the platform that you're providing throughout this nationwide hackathon will surely bring about new innovations, because that's what happens, and it tends to happen fast here in Southeast Asia. I mean, there's a large amount of people. It doesn't matter what country you're in, whether it's Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, that commonality that remains, the interest remains, the hunger remains, in the innovation remains with all that hunger, right? And I think all of that stuff compounding with a good platform like that you're offering, in that opportunity that you're offering, that perhaps some may not get if they're maybe, let's say, in a different part of the Philippines, let's say Cebu, and then Manila, right? Like you may not necessarily, be able to transfer those ideas, those solutions. But this is the beauty of Web3, because it's flattening all of that. And, just as you're in Manila and I'm in Bangkok, we're able to have this conversation and spread these ideas. And that's what I remember from my experiences with Hackathon. It's just like the buzz of ideas and everything that comes with that. And you feel it, right? It's very contagious. And I just think it's a wonderful thing for not only the country of the Philippines, but the region of Southeast Asia itself.
Yeah, I also, I agree with the hunger, the term of hunger, because I feel like in Southeast Asia we're still catching up. We're catching up, but in the right time. We have the
Agreed.
best time because there's a lot of things happening, and people from the West are coming here and
Yeah.
seeing it, the whole hunger, like
Yeah.
the hunger of builders on what they want to build and what they can offer. So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I feel like we're still catching up, but then we have the right timing for doing this. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Right. And the whole initiative is community driven, right? And that, I think, is the essence behind Web3, right? And I believe that's why it's important, for everybody to hear this, because it doesn't take permission anymore to get involved. It
yes,
just takes an initiative like you guys have, and it takes a platform that you guys are providing, right? I mean that's my opinion. I think that's why it's so important. But maybe you can shed some light and tell the listeners out there, I mean, we did touch on it, but, like, why is this so important for the Philippines at this time? Because you did mention it is the right time. Like, let's dive into that.
yeah. I feel like community needs community, and for every community, we're in different levels of knowledge. So for the community here in Manila, let's say it's a very different kind of knowledge that they have in Cebu and they have in Southern Philippines. So when I went to Cebu, I get this information that there's a huge gap aside from the distance, right? Because not all protocols can always fly there. In the Philippines, just for context for everyone who's watching, in the Philippines, for you to go to one province to another, most of the time you need to fly. You cannot go by drive. You cannot go. Maybe you can go by ship, but mostly fly, right?
Right.
And it's quite not cheap. I mean, the
Oh,
the with the amount of flight going to our provinces is quite the same going to another country. So some Filipinos would think, I will just go to another country. Anyway,
mm,
I was talking about like the gap of information. It's very
mhm.
different. So I think the community needs community that would also help and support them.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important for Philippines or for other Filipino leaders or Web3 leaders and KOLs actually to do this on ground, because there's a lot of easy things you can say online, but when you go to them, like they're
Mm,
real in real life, meetups and community, there's a lot of information that they get differently.
mm,
And there's
mm,
so much hunger, there's so much requests. They would always ask, why don't you go here, why don't we
mm.
do something consistent, all these things that
Right, right, right. Yeah.
would really love to do. And I mean, that's part of the plan this year anyway.
Nice. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, we're already getting some questions, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna ask. Thank you, Anne. We're gonna get to the questions in a minute. I'm just gonna ask a few more questions
Mm.
from my side because I'm curious what happens, and I'm sure there's other listeners out there that are curious as well. What happens to the winning team? Um, how do you help these devs, these teams, these hackers, these builders? How do you help these users from all over the Philippines turn their ideas into a project or into an action,
Mm.
right? Into something real.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah.
So, aside from doing hackathon, right, it doesn't end there. So we are partnering, my team in OpenGuild, we are partnering with Polkadot ecosystem projects, and
Okay.
we make sure that these projects have grants, grants that would support them to continue building, right? So because normally hackathons would end in hackathon, right, like in demo, and then that's it, bye bye.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
what we want to offer them is to, if they have very very good idea, we want to pick their brain and see like how you can implement it almost perfectly, and how you
Mm,
can be able to get grants. And we will also talk to the Pokadot projects, hopefully
mhm,
that they will be supportive with this, that they will be able to assist and maybe help them build also. So this is something that we want to offer. It's not just the hackathon that ends in the demo day. I mean, of course, I personally, I am a Filipino. I'm very involved with the Polkadot ecosystem, and it's gonna be something that I will be proud of if there will be, Filipino builders in the ecosystem, because I personally believe that in Polkadot we have the best minds in terms
mm.
of builders. So I would be very, very excited to introduce them to them. I mean, Filipino builders to the ecosystem.
Yeah, and that's right. And not only are you connecting every island and everybody in the Philippines together, but you're now connecting them to the wider Polkadot community. And yeah, I agree. Polkadot is a very strong chain, and they have very strong communities in every area. I mean, Polkadot Vietnam as well. Obviously, Polkadot Philippines, and I think that's neat because it makes me happy to hear that it doesn't end there, that it continues to evolve, it continues to spread, the ideas transfer. I think the grants are a wonderful idea because so many things have changed with Web3, and it doesn't, again, we mentioned it doesn't require permission. There are some constraints though with builders, right? Sometimes whether it's a bear market or just a fresh new idea, a crazy new idea with teams, liquidity or money can be a constraint.
Yeah.
When that stuff dries up, unfortunately, sometimes, the good idea remains, but then the drying up of the liquidity or the revenue or the money
Yeah.
tends to dictate whether or not the idea turns into something real. So I think that's a wonderful thing that you guys are doing. Do you see this as a one-off year or something maybe that you might continue annually?
I mean, of course, the goal would make it bigger, right? We want it
Mm,
to be bigger and do more consistently, hopefully. But it's not just about the number of participants that are
mm,
joining, but the number of projects that they can build. right?
Mm.
Or the number of projects that they can offer using Polkadot.
Mm.
I mean, with the numbers of participants, it might be easier than bringing something to the table, right?
Mm.
You can bring a lot of people, but bringing good ideas and really unique or one of a kind. I mean, I think that's something different. So yeah, I mean, let's see. I cannot promise anything. I cannot say anything for now, but I
Yeah.
really believe in Filipino builders, and
Yeah.
just here to support and push.
Nice. Yeah, it's just that I can't make it, and I've never been to the Philippines, and
Oh,
when I do go, I would love to connect with the community there, the Web3 community there.
you're
Uh,
missing a lot. You're missing a
I
lot.
know, I know. Yeah, but that's why I was just selfishly asking for my own personal gain. Like, if there was hopefully it's something that becomes reoccurring throughout this.
Mhm.
But let's dive into the inside of it for a minute, because you did earlier talk a little bit about OpenGuild and Web3 Bulacan. Like, how did that partnership all come about, and why are they such a good complementary partner to support local builders?
Yeah, so Polkadot in the Philippines, in Manila, we had the launch event. It's like an event that we gathered, KOLs or communities, Web3 leaders,
Yeah.
here in Manila. Then we we met there with Web3 Bulacan team members, and then
Mm.
we started talking about the meetup. Actually, it wasn't really like in the plan of doing meetups at that time,
Yeah.
but eventually we made it happen because you wouldn't know what could and could not happen if you don't do things right.
Mm-hmm.
And then that first meetup, I saw and felt how genuine they are, the team,
Yeah.
and their reach for developers, their network, the builders that they have, and so I think it's a perfect marriage actually.
Yeah.
um yeah, so the
It sounds like it. Yeah.
yes, because
Yeah.
I mean, again, I cannot do it alone, and with their team doing all these things, I think it's a really good combination, and I'm proud working with them.
Oh, that's cool. And you know what? Like, that's how these things happen in Web3. They move fast.
Mhm.
It's one of the most collaborative industries I've ever seen. And I'm
That's
coming
true.
from the educational side of things, right? Where we're supposed to collaborate and share ideas and stuff, and for better or worse, right? But like, from my experience, I can relate, because I started going to a few meetups here around Web3. I kind of moved out of the digital networking space into the Bangkok Web3 community, and that's how I found Musegan. And they were just so nice and so genuine, like similar to your story, how you said. And you never know what happens from that, right? And I met Jonathan through meetups in Bangkok, and we hit it off. The vibes were good. We started chatting, and here we are a year later or so, and now we're online, and shout out to Dex in the background, who's handling all the tech and production, and shout out to Rachel as well. I mean, the whole Musegan team as well. It to me, it feels like a family, and it all happened just because we went to the same event and had the same interests and had those same crazy ideas. And that's the cool thing about Web3, is people just keep showing up. And when you show up and people vibe with you, more people come along, and then more
Yeah.
ideas and more things, and then it compounds, right? It tends to continue to turn into something completely new, which brings us back to the hackathon, right? I mean, that's what's going to happen nationwide on mass, just in 2 days time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but tomorrow we will have like a pre-launch workshop in Cebu, and Saturday is an online kickoff.
Nice. Do you have like mentors or some like local experts, or whether they're on the ground in the Philippines, or whether they're in like on a virtual space, but do you have any mentors that are kind of coming in, or maybe like beyond just the training, like what kind of systems do you have in place to kind of help participants as they navigate this hackathon?
Yeah, so well, first our team in OpenGuild, we're based in Philippines and Vietnam. So we have our lead DevRel in Vietnam. But here in the Philippines, we also have one, Army. So she's gonna be the one mentoring, I think as a lead mentor of the whole bootcamp. She's
Okay.
very much involved and knowledgeable about the Polkadot blockchain or infrastructure. But we also have two tech leads from Web3 Bulacan. They're very, I feel like they're very knowledgeable and
Good.
they upskill themselves. So I think for me that's important. If the devs or if the tech people upskills themselves, because you cannot just tell people what they need to do, but they have to motivate them how to do it, right? They don't just they're not stuck with the knowledge that they have. They keep, upskilling and recommending and sharing to everyone what they know, how to proceed. So yeah, we have two from Web3 Bulacan, Tio and Ellie, and then one from Open Guild Army.
Nice, nice. So let's do a little like scenario. Like, say I'm a student in Cebu, and maybe I want to get involved. Maybe I've done hackathons before for innovative projects, but maybe I'm new to Web3. I've never touched Web3 before. Like, is there going to be like a learning curve, or how ready would someone be for something like this? Because sometimes when you hear Web3, and you're not familiar with it, and you're a new user, that may be a barricade. And one thing that I've learned about the space is that there really are no barricades here, right? If you build it, they will come. And if you can build it with friends, then it's even better. And if you scale it, that's wonderful too. But I'm thinking along the lines of some of those people who are kind of on the fence, like they're like, wow, I know hackathons, this is cool, but I don't know Web3, right? How ready would they be for something like this?
Yeah, I mean, I know the feeling of also of being intimidated, because I also started as a newbie, right? What I would recommend is to watch videos. They need to know the fundamentals of blockchain, of crypto, because that's where it is mostly used, right? In cryptocurrency, but also the fundamentals of blockchain. For me, I would suggest to watch videos, because there's YouTube, or if they're a reader, read a lot of stuff. But it always starts with the conversation. So they have to ask someone. They can ask me if they want, right? I always want to spend time talking about this in the most, step one or step zero, how they can understand blockchain. So yeah, maybe just join the community and start talking, start asking, because there's no wrong questions, right? Like there's no bad question. So yeah, and then after that, if we start doing conversations, they can go to our website, of course. Open Guild, it has all the resources that they need for Polkadot, but that's kind of like a different level of knowledge already, because that's gonna be too much for someone who's just really starting. But if you're really really newbie, you have to start the conversation, you have to ask questions. So
no, and I agree. And you know what, like, I think everybody started as a newbie, and I think this Web3 journey is still so early that for like in its lifespan that you have to continue to upskill yourself. You're going to feel uncomfortable. I mean, even when something new comes out, whether it's a new bridge or a new way to swap or a new app or a new Web3 social media, like, I'm still learning everything as I go as well, right? And we're all kind of in that same boat together, still learning, still asking questions. But that again comes back to that power of community, where you don't have to be intimidated. You can be vulnerable and you can ask a question online. I mean, that's the power of X as well. It's also the power of Mozagan, because Mozagan is kind of catered for all sorts of users, really, but they're an Web3 EDU focus, right? So the whole goal is to try to help us all become more knowledgeable in this space because we're stronger together, and we have liberated this information so that's no longer being kept secret or like gatekeeping. We've removed the gatekeeping side of things, and I don't think I've ever like received a response from someone that says they don't want to answer my question, right? I mean, like whether it's online or through a podcast, you know, I mean, Web3 is so giving, and they're just so the friends that I've made along the way are so how to say, like they're so willing to even introduce things to you, right? You may not even have to ask, you know, like they're just, hey, check this out, here's an airdrop, and I'm like, oh great, that's wonderful, how do I do it? And then, you know, you learn along the way. So that's good news, because I think that's one thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to alienate people, and we don't want to go into like this kind of like cult mentality where you are stifling innovation.
Yeah, I think also, like, not to mention the meetups, right? Like, I started going to the weekly meetups in Manila, in Makati, and I didn't know anyone. I was just showing up every week, and you know, I would ask questions, and I feel like I was so stupid, you know, like, why am I asking this question? Like, do I even understand what they're talking about? But I was just going every week, so. That's also, I think, what I was trying to mention, that you have to go there, show up and ask questions, you know, and no one would say, you know, shut up and sit down.
That's 100%, right? No one's gonna like, get out of here, that's dumb. You know, like I think, you know, that's a great point, right? You just keep showing up, keep learning, you keep iterating and keep connecting. Speaking of showing up, we're gonna take a quick break. And I hope that everyone that's here continues to show up. They're showing up in the comments. We see Ryan, I see Maria, Patrick, I see you, GM Shiza. And when we come back from this break, we will have a few more questions. But those of you who are here, continue to show up, because we want to hear from you as well. We want your questions. We want to give you that opportunity to ask questions, because that's what we're here to do with Museg and with OpenGuild. We're hoping that we can continue to educate and push this space forward, no matter where you are, whether you're here in Thailand with me or with Patricia in the Philippines. So we'll be right back after this quick break, and looking forward to turning it over to the audience soon.
Protect your crypto with the ultimate security solution, a hardware wallet. Say goodbye to sleepless nights worrying about hacks or theft. Secure it with a hardware wallet today. IsoShop, your #1 authorized reseller for Philippines.
Seeing the numbers right now, I'm so happy. I think you guys have 1,400 registered participants.
In the blockchain space, there's so much opportunities for people to bring their ideas.
So kung meron kang pera, you want to be wealthy in your lifetime, kailangan mo mag-zero in dun sa mga new technology. As traders, no, as forever students of the market, kailangan tayo renegable.
Why are we into Bitcoin? It's because we genuinely believe that humanity needs a better form of money that is not dollars or pesos or any of these things. We want money that we can actually hold on to, and this will be our life savings, and it will maintain its value against the things we want.
And we are back with Musegan and Patricia Arro. Am I saying that correctly? Sorry.
Yes, correct.
Right. And Patricia is here from, you may know her on X as Pokadot, but she is here representing Polkadot Southeast Asia and OpenGuild. And at this time, I kind of want to turn it over to a theme that is more Filipino related, right? I want to talk a little bit about maybe short-term and long-term, not only what's happening in a few days, which is the first nationwide hackathon, but, the long, big picture. And then I want to turn it over to a lot of these questions because we're getting great questions in the chat. And you, Pat, you seem to be very well liked as well. We got Hot Stream Jemez in there saying hello. We got Ryan. We got a couple other great questions, but I had one more question before we turn it over to the audience. And that question is, there is this like race for innovation, right? And there's also like, chain wars, there's different narratives, there's a lot of speculation, right? But, thinking along the level of like becoming that major player or establishing yourself as a major hub for Web3, that's, in my opinion, what Southeast Asia is kind of becoming. We saw that with DevCon in Bangkok. I think a lot of people came to Southeast Asia for the first time because they are like, how to say it, DevCon maxis, right? They went to South America, they went to the US, and when we were able to host DevCon here in Bangkok, it blew up the whole city, and then ever since it's been buzzing. And it's a bit of a hangover now from how much excitement it was for that week with 600 plus side events, but it's establishing Southeast Asia, like beyond Singapore, right? You often think, Singapore, Hong Kong, that's where the innovation lies, but that's not true, right? It's happening in pockets, and these things like your hackathon, these meetups that you mentioned, these events. I think Hong Kong is doing something soon. There's another event happening, just next week here in Bangkok, but I think that this is going to really establish the Philippines. I think what you're doing with Polkadot is really going to establish the Philippines as a major player. And how do you feel about like the Philippines fitting into this big picture of Web3, or of Southeast Asia becoming a big major hub for Web3, where, like, as you mentioned, like Westerners are coming over because they know that this is where the pace quickens. This is where innovation happens so fast. But what's your take on that, and on the Philippines and Southeast Asia becoming a major hub for Web3?
Yeah, like I already mentioned earlier, I still feel like Southeast Asia is still catching up, but we're catching up really, really quick. I also like mentioned that because of the timing, because of a lot of things going on, because a lot of new stuff, the timing of catch up is really good. Also, I guess because our team, since we're based in Southeast Asia, we saw the opportunity or the potential of bringing Southeast Asian builders to the global stage, because first we are very competitive and, let's say, affordable,
Yeah.
right? Let's say,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
yeah, right. I mean, that's very given. And on the other hand, for Southeast Asia, we have a lot of opportunity to join, and because Western builders are opening their doors for us,
Yeah.
right? So even they are doing all the travels from there to here.
Nice.
But yeah, for Filipinos, we were not known for builders. We
Hmm.
started to be known in the space as end users of play to earn applications. But right now, I actually didn't think of if Filipino builders, if this is the right time for Filipino builders to highlight. It just happened that there's
Yeah.
a lot of builders here. So yeah, I mean, we will still see, but as you mentioned, because of DevCon, because of a
Yeah.
lot of events here in Southeast Asia, I think we are in the right track of catching up and
Yeah.
being in front of things.
Yeah, well, it takes a platform, right? And that's what you're providing. You're providing that opportunity to nourish those young builders, right? I mean, you in order to be known for having builders, the builders have to have opportunity, right? To practice
Yes.
and to iterate. And that's what you're doing. So yeah, I think, you're not known yet, but that doesn't mean you won't be, right? And I think that's what's so cool and so bullish on this area of the world, because yeah, there's when you get a lot of people together with the same ideas, it doesn't matter if you're late, early, or known for whatever. I mean, that is the beauty of Web3. It's always reinventing itself. And I'd like to turn it over now to a couple questions in the chat. We have a question from Furley. I believe that's the right way to say it. It's a Polkadot related question, and I think, Pat, you may be able to answer that a bit better. Can you shed some light? Begin. Thanks for the question, because all these questions are great questions. What does Polkadot do?
Um, this is a hard question. I mean, basically, Polkadot is an infrastructure. It's a blockchain that connects different blockchains together, and there's a lot of new things coming up now where other big infrastructures can also connect to Polkadot. But we also have this open governance where our token dot holders can vote what they can decide for the future of Polkadot. So yeah, I mean, Polkadot is very community driven. I can say, like, even the technology, the community can decide for that. Not just the founder himself, not just the top engineers or developers. I mean, they don't just decide. Even the founder himself, he has to, like, kind of propose what's the next step for Polkadot. So yeah, so Polkadot basically is a blockchain where you can connect, and I think this is the most resilient blockchain in the space, because this is like you know compared to other, we do not have downtime, and I think it continues to still be, on top. And even the developers and engineers of Polkadot, they still keep testing the edge of Polkadot, and it still delivers. So yeah, again, this question is quite hard to answer, but
Yeah.
the Polkadot is a platform where you can build your, let's say, your another infrastructure or your decentralized application. So there's a lot of things you can do for Polkadot.
And I think the cool thing about Polkadot, in my limited experience and knowledge around the chain, is almost like the origin story, right? I believe it's Garvin who is running the show, but known for Polkadot now, but a lot of people may not realize that he started with a bunch of other legends in Ethereum. And if you're not familiar with Polkadot, you may be more familiar with Ethereum. I think, again, this is what happens when you bring a lot of people together. They start something, they build something great, and then there's a problem again, and then there's a little bit of how to say, like not a breakaway, but something kind of morphs and evolves into something else. And then, you know, I believe just from that early crew of people in Ethereum, you had the breakaway into Polkadot with Garvin, who worked very closely with Vitalik in the early days. You had Charles Hopkins break off and do no, maybe I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's correct, but you had a lot of people that were like, they all had that same commonality. They found those problems, they solved those problems. There was a new set of problems, right? And then they fixed them as well, right? Is that how it kind of went? They kind of continued to get more innovative and better, and they continue to focus on the user more, the user experience.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Thank you so much for mentioning this, because I totally forgot. You know, like, yeah. So Gavin was also Gavin is still the co-founder of Ethereum, right? So he wrote the yellow paper of Ethereum, and he actually was the one who coined the term Web3. I mean, we're not all here if he didn't invent that term, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're correct. Like, so they were working Ethereum, and then he saw there's a problem there, and then he created Polkadot. Same with Charles, you know, like he also created a solution separately. So that's why I was saying that I feel like in Polkadot, or actually in Web3 in general, I feel like there's a lot of great minds here. So, you know, why not bring in people here, build here, and, you know, connect, network, and do something together. There's always like a huge opportunity for people to invent something. You know, it's Web3. It's limitless possibilities.
And that goes back to the hackathon, limitless possibilities. I love that you're not focusing on one theme, because that could again stifle the innovation that boxes people in. You need to let people tinker, you need to let them try things, you need to let them iterate, and you need to let them sometimes even fail, so that they could, you know, come back stronger with something new, something completely different, but built from that foundation of that original core value of Web3, a community-driven, user-centric, you know, experience that turns into something real. You know, we have another question from Anne, but I am going to need your help, Pat, with this one, because I don't know how to read it. Yeah. So Anne, if we could bring up Anne's question.
So Anne is asking if the hackathon is only for students. It's for students and for developers, like professional developers, aspiring developers, or, you know, just someone who wants to build on their own. It's for everyone. So yeah, to answer your question, it's really for everyone. Yeah, open to everyone. Students and professionals are welcome.
And shout out to Web3 Bulacan telling us in the comments here, open to everyone, students, professionals. Web3 does not discriminate by age, by region. Again, that's a beautiful part, because we're breaking down so many barriers, and we're moving faster than most other industries, right? While other industries are maybe just building on top of the same foundation, only innovating in kind of small ways, they're not really doing transformative things. You know, I'm speaking from an educational background. I'm thinking about how many other industries are very slow to change, and you know, they're unwilling to embrace the disruptive technology. And I think, you know, Web3 reduces all of that. Web3 is something where I think it just becomes more of an. I'm very like used to just coming to a meeting, hearing a crazy idea, and saying, yes, that sounds cool, and how about this, right? Whereas I think a lot of other good ideas in other industries go to die, because before they even get off the ground, someone's like, nah, we can't do that. We've never done it that way. We always do it this way, right? And I think that is something that you don't have to worry about here. And so for everybody out there listening and tuning in to the stream, like, understand that there really are no limits, and there really are no restrictions anymore when it comes to you need a Wi-Fi connection. That's about it, but aside from that, it doesn't really prevent you from getting involved in the space, whether it's physically, digitally, whether it's as a trader, or just a spectator.
Agree.
Great questions though, guys. Thanks. Keep them coming. So we're gonna wrap up soon, but before I want to wrap up, I want to think like closing thoughts. This hackathon is, yes, it's a competition, but it's more than a competition at the same time, right? We talk a lot about how this is about putting Filipino developers on the map in Web3. We talk a lot about providing the platform and providing the skills, providing the networks, right? What are you most looking forward to throughout this? And then I want to later kind of make sure that everybody can find out how to get involved, stay involved. But because the door is wide open for anyone to step in. But what are you most looking forward to coming up? And I'm sure you must be excited because it is right around the corner.
Well, in terms of like the results of what kind of projects that will come, I mean, I don't want to expect anything. I am actually very excited, and I'm very looking forward to what Filipino builders would bring.
Yeah.
So because I would also bring something to the table that's very important for them if they're very serious in delivering, and building. I mean, I want to bring them to the main stage. So I'm just very excited, and I don't want to expect anything. I really want to be like surprised how brilliant they can do. But more than anything, I'm expecting a very tight community that's very helpful to each other, supportive, and not trying to kick someone out, but more like into open into collaboration, because this is what we're doing right now with Polkadot. We are open to any kind of collaboration, as long as it benefits our ecosystem. And for me personally, as long as it helps the Filipino builders, it always comes down to Filipino builders and to Southeast Asia, because you and I know how much we know the hunger of builders here, and we have something to offer. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's just very exciting, and I cannot wait to start this. Really.
Yeah, I'm not even there, and I'm excited, and I'm super proud that it's happening. Again, it's just another notch in the belt of Southeast Asia. I'd like to bring up the website so that we can have everyone who's out there listening, find out how to follow OpenGuild, find out how to stay involved, find out how they can educate themselves a little bit more on Polkadot. But yeah, no, I think it's good to not have like expectations and be too excited. But I don't know. I can't help but be excited for the fact that you're doing this for the first time, and it's a massive feat. It's a massive thing, a major accomplishment, not only for the Philippines, but for Polkadot itself and for OpenGuild. So if you're listening out there, check out the website and give Pat a follow as well. It's OpenGuild. Go dive into the Polkadot ecosystems, and like what Pat said before, the internet is your friend in this case. Go watch some videos. Mosagan has plenty. You can go onto YouTube. You could start following Pat, start following myself, start following Mosagan on X, and that's how I got into the space. I learned from others, right? We stand on the shoulders of giants. Just like that Ethereum story, we build off of great foundations, and then we make them even greater, like Polkadot did. I'm just very happy that you made the time for us tonight, and I want everybody out there who's listening to keep the questions coming. I'll do my best to answer them offline. You can always reach out to Pat. You can always reach out to OpenGuild. You can reach out to myself and Mosagan, because we are here to educate, and we're here to inform, and we're here to kind of create a stronger presence in the world when it comes to Web3. Any closing words, Pat? Anything else that you want to plug or share? I know that it's only a few days away. Are you still taking registrations? Is it still possible for people to get involved, or is it too late?
Yes. So yeah, if you're interested or if you know anyone, our registration is still open. We're still accepting, participants, and for everyone who registered already, you just have fun. Be creative and have fun. Learn but have fun. I think having fun in this space is very important because there's gonna be so much information coming to you. So just make sure that you're having fun and you bring the best that you can. So good luck and follow us, Polkadot, OpenGuild.
Yeah, and don't be shy to connect with people while you're there. It's a wonderful opportunity. You're gonna have hundreds and hundreds of people that are going to be like-minded, hungry, and willing. So one of the things that I always, it always confuses me is that when you go to these events and the people talk to the same people. You know what I mean? Don't do that. That would be my advice. And you know what I mean? Like, go there, meet new people, put yourself out there. Register now for the Polkadot Bootcamp. You could do that. We can pop the link on the screen. But when you do attend the bootcamp, put yourself out there, meet some friends, ask those questions. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable because that's how you learn and that's how you grow. So we're gonna flash the registration up on the screen. It's a Luma page, easy to register for. So please, if you want to get involved or if you want to continue to learn more, keep those questions going and don't underestimate the value of networks. Pat, it has been a pleasure, because we didn't know each other, an hour ago, and now another connection is formed, and that again is the essence of Web3. So, keep coming back, everyone. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep building. I wish you all the best for the hackathon. I will be following it along closely on your guys' socials. I want to kind of see what comes out of it. And I hope that one day we can do this again, perhaps once it's over, and we can debrief about it. But, all the best for what's ahead. And I'm sure it'll be great.
Thank you so much, Nick. And thank you, Masegit, for having me here.
Yeah, shout out Jonathan and shout out to everyone behind the scenes, Dex, Rachel, OpenGuild, thank you so much. Web3 Bulacan, thank you so much. And everybody who chimed into the comments. We hear you, we see you, and we hope that you keep coming back and keep reaching out. That's all for this week. Thank you guys. I hope your 2025 is coming along very well. We're gonna try to do this a lot more often, so stay tuned. And do stay tuned to the first nationwide hackathon in the Philippines. It's going to be something that you're not going to want to miss. It's something that I think, anytime there's a first of one thing, it's quite special. So yeah, I think, stay tuned and see you next week. Hopefully, friends from Musegan, because we're looking to do this and actually live to the name and make it Web3 Weekly. Not Web3 bi-weekly, not Web3 monthly, but we hope to see you all next week. And thanks again, Pat. I really appreciated it.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.